Okay, all set now. We can start. Namaste to all of you from Serbia. It gives me great pleasure to be with all of you for this next 1 hour to share some of the thoughts from our university. Friends, let us begin with one Om. Take a deep breath, chant Om. So topic for today is wellness during and after COVID-19, talking about wellness, maintaining our health, stress-free life during this pandemic, and from those who have recovered from the COVID infection. Let us try to understand the role of yoga, mind management, stress-free mind in this period of pandemic. Let us spend 1 minute to offer our prayers for those who have succumbed to the pandemic. Sit comfortably, sit in silence, pray for the good heavens for those who have been affected during this pandemic. It has been such a devastating experience in the last year. Almost every family has lost one of their family members. If it's a big family, more than one person. What a change, what a big calamity, what a big shock that humanity is facing, which is making us become one, which is making us think together, which is making us share each other's concerns, which is making us send love and care and concern, money, matter, and mind to each one of us in the whole world, which has really made us come together as a global family. And I'm sure this was not what we wanted to become as a global family. To become a global family, we always talked about love, care, concern, sharing through yoga lifestyle. But here comes a big challenge of the pandemic with this communicable problem, which made us a global family. Let us feel, send our love and affection to all those who have survived and going through this bereavement and post-COVID effects. COVID came, killed some people, but there are people who have survived that, but still suffering with lots and lots of post-COVID effect. And let us spend the next 45 minutes to understand what exactly is the pandemic, how these communicable and non-communicable diseases have become such a big challenge to all of us, in spite of all the technology advancement, in spite of all the advances. We thought that we have won over mankind's health problems. We could replace organs, we could replace a heart, we could replace a kidney, we could replace bones, eyes, etc. But here comes a big challenge. A minute organism, invisible to the eye, has really shaken up the whole world, economically, morally, emotionally, etc. And why? Why, in spite of so much of understanding of human health, human system, the human society, the sociology, etc. What is this that has caused this problem? This is because the medical science understood the whole system as a mega machine. It was in the 16th century that science came in with lot of understanding of how the heart pumps, how the blood circulates, how the cells work. Understanding this, the scientist said, wow, we have understood human system so well that we don't need this religion, we don't need this church to help us in the health management. Body is like a mega machine, a big clock which has gone wrong. If it is sick, we can make it correct by doing some mechanical repairs. And this became the big shift from the mind, spirit, prana, etc. We became totally physical oriented. And as we moved on in the last 200 years, or at least 100, not even 100 years, we have become so much focused, organ-based science. An eye specialist does not know what is happening in the kidney. Kidney specialist needs the help of a heart specialist needs the help of a bone specialist. We have forgotten the whole organism, whole system, leave alone what controls that, the mind or the spirit or the soul, etc., etc. And this has led to this big lifestyle problem of the lifestyle problems which could be non-communicable diseases like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, back pain, acidity, asthma, cancer, and people who are living with non-communicable diseases as their life companion have become totally vulnerable to this pandemic. And let us spend the next few minutes to understand this virus and how our body is coping up with this, how the immune system has to cope up with this. COVID-19 SARS virus, in Sanskrit language, there is a very similar word, Covida, Covida and COVID. Sound similar, isn't it? Covida in Sanskrit language means experienced, skilled, learned person. So if you're a very highly academic person, you're called a Covida, Covida Smith, Covida George, etc. And what is this Covida? This COVID has become really a Covida because it is giving such a big challenge to all the intellectual academicians in the world. What happens? All of you have read about this. The virus, what is important for all of us to know is the virus is a dead material, sir. It's dead material. It is not a living organism when it is outside. Only when it attaches to the human cell, enters into the cell, our cell gives it life, our cell gives it nutrition, our cells give it the necessary energy, and then only it becomes a live virus which can multiply, spread, and become a parasite. So when this virus has entered the body, how does our body protect against the COVID-19 infection? It is our immune system. What is our immune system? We have large number of defense system which is found in the spleen, thymus, lymph nodes, tonsils, adenoids, nasal lining, because this is the entry point. Any entry opening, whether it's an ear or the nose or the throat or the lungs or the intestine, these are on the skin, these are the areas which are exposed to the outside. So immune system has sent its border security force to all these areas with central control captain system, which is the thymus, spleen, etc., which help in preparing, manufacturing, and etc. In the immune system, as soon as the virus enters, there is what is called as the innate immunity, emergency. Within few hours, their soldiers are recruited, they go and recognize this, engulfs the organism, engulfs the virus, destroy them and throw them out of the system. And it does not involve any inflammation. There is no big swelling or redness or anything like that. Cells simply come, engulf the virus, try to throw him out of the system. These are the real border security force which are there along the lining of the nose and the respiratory system and the intestinal system. While this is happening, some cells carry this enemy to the source, to the central training center, we may call the thymus, etc., lymph node, etc., where they recognize, my God, this is a dangerous fellow. We cannot just manage by just the border security force. We should recruit more people. We should recruit more specific, well-trained, well-motivated, highly specific soldiers who will attack this and maintain this fight for a long time and remember this for a long time is the major adaptive immunity that our T cells and B cells develop to maintain this fight, and there comes the inflammation. So there are cellular fighters which are called T cells, white blood cells which follow the viruses, and then there are chemical fighters which are antibodies which lock up the virus. Many of you are very familiar with IgG tests that we do to find out how strong your body is to cope up with the infection. After the infection, or people who have been exposed but never had symptoms, particularly healthcare workers, and they have to go and work with the COVID patients, they do a test called IgG in the blood, which will help us to know how strong his immune system is. Can we send him as a healthcare worker so that he can prevent getting the infection? Also, if you have good amount of IgG in the blood, you can even donate plasma to help people who are suffering. So what is this IgG? It is the antibody which will stick to the lining of the virus, lock it up, and then allow the other cells to come and gobble it up and prevent the virus to multiply. Apart from these liquid fighters, which I call as antibodies or cellular fighters, there are what are called as antioxidants. After the fight is induced, when the fight is going on, the body releases lots of stress toxins, which is called as oxidative stress. So body has got the capacity to neutralize this oxidative material or nascent oxygen, which will be detrimental if it goes on like this. So therefore, these are called as antioxidants, called nitric oxide and many others. There was a study where they found that when people did this humming sound, in yoga we call it as Brahmari pranayama, or doing a sound like a female bee, low pitch, take a deep breath and do resonation in the entire skull, in all the sinuses. When there is resonation, what they have found is there is a 15-fold increase in the production of this nitric oxide in the sinuses, which will neutralize and prevent any stress effect when the fight is going on. So I hope all of you are very familiar. You must have read a lot about what is happening in the body when this virus attacks our body. And we took a long time, initial days, when it started in January, March, April, January, February, March of 2020. We were giving large doses of antiviral medication, but people were just simply dying. And it took almost 2-3 months before the medical fraternity understood, hey, we are dying not because of the virus, it is because of our own immune system, which has been overreactive, over fighting, excessive fighting, and going and fighting in all other organs and multi-organ failure. And they detected this and named it as cytokine storm. There is a large amount of chemical that is released in the system, which will immediately stimulate this inflammation, irritate, damage our own organs. So it was we had to realize it's our own immune system which is damaging the organs and killing the body apart from the virus itself. So therefore, we started giving steroids to suppress our immune system. Initial stages, there was no immunity, virus entered. But as the body got activated, there was so much more inflammation, so much more fighting material, so much more damage that our own body, our own immune system was creating. And therefore, we had to suppress this. And now it has become a protocol in the management to add on steroids to patients. How does yoga understand this? According to yoga, we classify all diseases under two major categories. Adhija Vyadhi, or which are due to internal imbalance born diseases, and Anadhija Vyadhi, which are not due to stress, but they are due to outside causes. Outside cause could be an infection, injury, or toxin. Therefore, we thought that, okay, problem has come from outside, virus has entered, so we have to give some medicine to kill the virus. So we went on giving antiviral medication, but we have to realize that the yogis 5,000 years ago had understood this particular point, which yoga, which even today we understand as medical professionals. If we have to maintain our health, when there is an onslaught by the virus, when there is an onslaught by any infection, we have to give antiviral drugs, but this is only one corner of health. The other two components in health is our own body's mechanism, how our body is trying to tolerate the environmental changes, how our immune system is coping, and this is all manageable through yoga because it is internal. It is me, my nervous system, my immune system, my body's ability to cope up with the environmental changes. So to improve that tolerance, to improve that stability, to improve that coping capacity, it is I who have to do something. I have to keep the system healthy, and therefore we realize that it is all mind that has to work, and therefore we, as early as April 2020, we went and reviewed all the available evidence-based research that has been done where stress is known to disturb the immune functions. Stress and incommunicable diseases, yoga in communicable diseases, yoga in influenza, yoga in tuberculosis. All these we reviewed and we had already done a lot of research in the role of yoga in chronic infections like TB, like HIV. But this here is a big challenge where we have to bring in emergency management by using the mind. Let us spend a few minutes to understand what is the connection between mind, stress, and the cytokine storm that we are talking about. Yogis, it is being understood very clearly by medical science. When we enter into that enormous sphere in the early days, at least now people have become complacent. We know how to manage our COVID to some extent, although the fear takes over. When there is a fear, anger, tension at the mind level, it activates our emotional cortex. Too much of activity in the nervous system, which has to receive your anger activity. Our brain is like a TV set. Whatever you think, you have to use a TV set, some knob in the brain, which will make you do that activity. So the knob in the brain, which helps express your emotion of fear, is called the limbic cortex. So a lot of electrical activity, lot of networking, lot of connections activates the emotional cortex. From there, the electrical currents come down to the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is a small group of nerve cells, but highly potent. In fact, we call this as the stress button. This is what medical science has clearly understood. The hypothalamus is the one which controls the release of cortisol, release of steroids, works on the immune system. It can make the immune system become low functioning or high functioning. So a lot of imbalance created by the mind. This much has been understood in great detail by medical science, and therefore they said mind stress is the one which can make or mar the immune system, which can cope up with the onslaught by the virus. As it happens in modern lifestyle, we have too many demanding situations. We do not have time to rest the nervous system, and stress therefore is defined as a response to demanding situations. When we face this big demand of an onslaught by the virus, we have to put all our energy to cope up with only strengthening and keeping our immune system in proper balance to cope up with the demanding fight. But on top of that, we start worrying. We bring about a lot of imbalance by drawing all our energy to the thinking. That releases wrong chemicals and totally creates an imbalance in the immune function. And it is this how stress imbalance can create a problem. And therefore, the definition of stress, according to yoga, according to modern science, is our psychophysiological mind body response to demanding situations of life. It is so that demanding situation here is the external onslaught. But if on top of that, if the demanding situation is the fear, anxiety, tension, worry, frustration, concerns, there are large number of reasons why a person can become extremely fearful. In fact, I remember one of the old ladies here in India, we have a particular ceremony that makes a person go into the right heavens after death. This old lady was admitted with a COVID ward, and she said, no, I don't want to die here. Please take me home. There is nobody around here. If I die with COVID in the hospital, they will not do the right rituals so that I could reach my heavens. Please. And that was her stress. So stress need not be only about how am I going to live or not? Am I going to die of this disease? How am I cope up with my financial needs? How will my family survive? But even fear about how my body is going to be handled after death could be the reason for the stress. So emotions, apart from the fighting, creates lot of strain, and that is the root cause of the cytokine storm, which is creating all the panic and the mortality. For that, we can say it is the lifestyle. We have seen that people who are heavily non-vegetarians, who are obese, who have had alcohol, who have been depending on smoking, who have had emotional stress, are the ones who are very vulnerable to this mortality in COVID infection. And we know that all these lifestyle situations are all controlled by the mind. And therefore, can we say that even in COVID, mind management, mind is the root cause of the condition becoming very severe? Okay, viral load decides whether you are going to get an infection. Once I get the infection, what decides is how my mind handles it, how I am going to face this, how am I going to see that I have zero thought in my mind, no worry at all. I see that I keep on sending all my energy only to fight the virus with a positive attitude, with an attitude that I am going to become a winning soldier and not a succumbing soldier in this war. The thought process is so very important in handling this condition, and that is what is the emotion. The sages classified all our emotions under two major categories: positive emotions and negative emotions. Positive emotions are all joy, contentment, happiness, freedom, peace, etc. could be classified as positive emotions. Whereas negative emotions are all these: intense desire, intense anger, intense fear, intense restlessness, arrogance, jealousy, and in all these, there is a big response to these demanding situations, and therefore they define stress as a response to demanding situations of life, creating an imbalance. And according to yoga, we also understand that this response is happening in our mind level, as we have understood. Yogis looked at the whole system as 5 components of our body. What are we understanding in today in the medical science? Yes, this is a physical body made of cells, chemicals, organs, structure, and there is an imbalance there. Some chemistry is disturbed, some nervous activity is disturbed, is one part of the body, physical body. But the sages said we have 4 bodies. What are these 4 more bodies? The chemicals that are seen in the physical body is called the Annamaya Kosha. The what makes this chemical oriented dead body as a living body which does all the functions? See, what is the difference between a dead body and a living body? Even in a dead body, I have my body. All the organs are similar. All the chemicals are there. All the RNA, DNA, chemicals, organs, but we call it a useless body, dead body. What is the difference? I want life in that. Life, life, life. So what ignites life into our cells is called the prana, and that is the aspect of our myself which I am using this prana to carry on all the functions of the body. Every cell needs its quota of prana 24/7, all 100 years of my life, to carry on all its functions in a healthy and happy way. If there is too much of prana, the cells do not function efficiently. There is very little prana, the cells do not function efficiently. It's simple. It's something like the electrical gadget around here. If there is too much of electrical flow, they will all burst. If there is low voltage, there is no function. So this way, every cell in the body all the time needs its quota of prana. And when I want to do more activity in some part, I send more prana there, and when I rest, I bring it back. And I'm doing too much of brain work, more prana there. And I'm doing too much breathing work, more prana there. And I'm doing muscular work, more prana there. And I'm now talking, I'm using more prana here. When I stop talking, less prana here. And I sleep, least prana. When you go into deep sleep, well rested sleep, least prana for basic functions. Well, I am not just my living body, like in a ventilated, unconscious person who is lying in the ICU. I have my mind. Mind is the most important portion. And how do we define mind? Mind is called the manomaya kosha. The manomaya kosha is the one which carries on all our thinking activity. Thinking activity could be perceiving what you are. Now you are listening to me, you are understanding. It's your mind which is understanding. It's not just the ear. It's not just the eyes. These are all only camera and amplifier. Message is going to your mind which is understanding it. So perceiving what you are hearing, playing our emotions are the two major functions of our lower mind. We can divide our thinking apparatus into two parts. One, receive, respond, receive, respond, receive, respond, which keeps us healthy and happy. But all the time, we have our inner mind, which is called the Vijnanamaya Kosha, knowledge mind, which is guiding me to respond in a particular pattern or not. For example, a virus has come and my response is, oh my God, I got this virus. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Will I die of this? Will I get into more and more oxygen deficit? I keep on checking my SpO2. If SpO2 goes 90, 91, already mind starts getting fear, 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 fear. Falls down to 87. My God, I'm going to die. To happen, what's going to happen? But the inner mind is telling you, hey, don't worry, I say, you got the energy, you do deep breathing, you do pranayama, you will calm down your mind, everything will be all right. I am still young and energetic. I don't have any other major illnesses. Why should I worry? The inner mind is telling me, but the outer mind is telling, my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? The sages said, you have this inner mind called knowledge mind. Use that to prevent these emotions from taking over and creating problems and enter into that deep, blissful, quiet, rested, zero activity state at the mind level so that you can send all your energy for the body to do its job. Withdraw yourself, switch off yourself, almost like in deep sleep, wakeful deep sleep, and let the body do its job and allow the body to do its job is the layer of our existence, which is the healer within, in which every cell works in harmony, works in balance, works in efficiency, because I am not interfering with all the wrong chemicals that I am releasing through my stress. And that is the state of total health. And they said many of these diseases are because of overworking of the stress and the mind. What is very, very important for us to learn from yoga masters is, okay, we have understood this through medical science, but what do I do with this monkey mind? How do I handle my mind? Therefore, the sages said, please understand what is happening in your mind when you are saying that you are stressed out. This is the crux of the whole of the philosophical understanding of the experiential understanding of what exactly is happening in your mind when you say you're stressed. Take this example. Oh, my oxygen is dropping. What is going to happen? One thought came. Then immediately what happened? Oh my God, oxygen dropping, what's going to happen? Oxygen is dropping, what's going to happen? Again, I keep checking my SpO2 and say, my God, 87, 88, 87, 88. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? My God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? The mind picks up enormous speed and rewinds. So it is rewinding, uncontrolled, excessive sentences, excessive rewinding of sentences in the mind. And I have allowed myself to get drawn away by this speed, and that is the stress. That is the definition of stress according to yoga. Therefore, what the sages said was, use your knowledge base, use your inner mind, use your confidence, use your inner stability to reduce this uncontrolled rewinding of the mind. And that is what is the definition of yoga. What is the solution? Emotional stability. So that is the definition of yoga given by the major masters of yoga. Sage Patanjali defines yoga as yam 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 chitta vritti nirodha. What is yam yam yam? Mastery over the modifications of the mind. I would like you to remember this as mastery over the monkeying of the mind. What is my mind doing? Monkeying, pulling into that speed, running hither, thither, haywire, uncontrolled. Therefore, that is the mastery. So how do I master my mind? We understood the whole problem is the speed. Therefore, you should learn to slow down the speed. So reduce the speed of the mind is the other definition that sage Vasishtha is giving us. Mind slowing down trick is yoga. In Sanskrit, we call it as prashamana. So what should you do? My God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Don't run away from it. Don't divert your mind. Take the topic and say, oh, my oxygen level is dropping. What is going to happen? Will it go further down? This is all we need to do. Mind slowing down trick. And through that, we develop a state of balance, which Samskrita is called as balance or samatvam. So in Krishna and Bhagavad Gita defines yoga as samatvam. So please remember these three words. Mastery, slowing down, and balance is the definition of yoga. And that provides deep, deep, deep inner rest to each and every cell. And the cells start doing their job. Cells know what they want to do. Immune system knows what should be done. Immune system knows which to recruit, which cells to recruit, where to send, where is the virus moving. Everything body knows by itself. But me, my mind, my stress is making it so heavy. The prana is not flowing freely. Prana is not being supplied properly because I am drawing all the prana to the head region, and therefore the whole system gets into an imbalance. So what the sages said is, switch off your mind, consciously give deep rest to each and every cell and allow them to do their job. And that's what is the first thing that we teach in yoga. Deep relaxation technique, IRT, instant relaxation technique, QRT, quick relaxation technique, and another deeper technique called cyclic meditation, Om meditation. All these help us to go into deep rest. So what did we understand? We need to go into deep rest, and at all levels, we have to work at the body level using many techniques. Okay, it's easily said and done. How do I silence my mind? It's not so easy. I'm trying, but it's not working, madam, is what many of our anxious patients tell us. It becomes so violent, so panicky, I can't handle my mind. Therefore, we should go down to our sages who said, 100 techniques I'll give you. One sage, one technique, starting from healthy diet, cleansing technique, kriyas, physical postures, asanas, breathing practices, pranayama, meditative practices, dharana, dhyana, devotional practices, bhakti yoga, emotion, culture, etc. So what we have done is, we have selected many practices from the set of physical practices, breathing practices, and when you do any one of these very simple practices, we have developed 5 different modules to be introduced to people of all ages if they are symptomatic, is for prevention, management of mild and moderate illness, severe illness, and post-recovery. We have got large number of modules. In all these modules, we combine body movements with breathing, with mind management. So when what you are seeing is just stretch your hand out and bring it back to the center. Very simple, which can be done even in the lying down position. But how is it different from physiotherapy? Here you combine it with breathing. When you breathe out, stretch, and breathe in completely stretch, and then breathe in to expand your chest as much as possible. When you bring back the hand, breathe out and relax, and go on watching your mind. See what is your mind doing. No other thoughts. Mind should just dwell on the breathing, body movements, and the mind. So no other thoughts, no fearful thoughts. Focus. Then focus on that body, breathing, mind. So we have combined all these very simple moments with pranayama to help people with this one, people with COVID, and we have been finding very encouraging results. So this is where we come across and understand and help people to go into a deeper aspect of our personality, the deepermost, what I called as the bliss layer of our existence, deep silent state of our existence, the soul that we call as, which is zero thought state, but I'm still alive, I'm still awake, I'm in a state of zero thought state. This is the basic stuff with which the entire universe is made of, and we encourage our participants to recognize that I am made of that deep, silent, non-active, zero thought state, where I'm detached myself from the body, detached myself from the breathing, detached myself from the thinking apparatus, and I am in that bliss, quiet, expanded awareness state, which is the meditative state. And this is what this particular line from the Bhagavad Gita says, that if you establish in that state and recognize that I am a piece of this consciousness, which is the basic stuff of this universe, I become completely free from the fear of death, which is the most important thing that all of us have to do. Let me share the experience of some of our friends who use this. We have a very close friend of ours, a cardiac surgeon from Italy in Milano, Dr. Giorgio Miura. He was he's an active cardiac surgeon who does cardiac surgeries very intensively. And COVID came, you know that in the beginning, the first country to get affected after China was the Italy. There was a big storm. In fact, he used to send us email saying that I'm seeing ambulances bringing in patients into the ICU, dead bodies being taken out. I have never seen this many deaths in my lifetime. It's so disturbing, so disturbing. And he knew the role of mind, he knew the role of yoga, and he said in the month of March, he sent a message saying that, thank you for your contribution. We are spreading your methods, activating yoga instructors to follow these techniques to COVID patients, and most important, teach yoga to people at home so that they don't come to me in the hospital as a sick person. And the same doctor next in April sends another email which is very, very disturbing. I thought of you with little oxygen in my brain when I got the infection. When I was lying in the ICU bed, you made me think, besides my surgical science, as a doctor and a patient with COVID, fighting for life with breath after breath. In a moment, there was light and courage. And I thought, when I heard these uh, DVDs which were sent to me, and I realized that I should recognize that I am made of that imperishable inner stuff, which is the deep inner silent consciousness. All my fear went away, and I dedicate my life to India on behalf of all the, look at that last sentence, on behalf of all the 120 Italian doctors who died in this period in Italy, even before April 2020. Another example of Dr. Neeraj Patil from London, who is an Indian, who is very much into spirituality and meditation and devotion. He got the infection, working intensively for helping. He was a politician himself, being a doctor, so he was very much actively involved in many politicians, big VIPs admitted in London hospital, and he picked up the infection himself, and he says he continuously 24/7 he was going on repeating Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, not allowing any negative thought to attack his mind. So continuous breathing, awareness, and I had to do a lot of strain to pull in air into my lungs because respiratory rate had become so so fast. I was on the non-invasive ventilator, and the ventilator sound was going on, and I had combined that with my Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, combining with breath awareness, trying to push air into my lungs, not to allow my air passages to get blocked with a phlegm, push air in by doing Antar Kumbhakar, inner breath holding practice in pranayama, and keep my alveoli open, and that's how I recovered, is what he says. Another yoga family in Vancouver, Canada, they also survived because of this lady. No whole family was affected. 3 of the family members are staying at home, and this girl had to require ventilation. So she was hospitalized, home and hospital. So luckily they were allowed to keep the phone on, and she says, continuously I was hearing many relaxation tapes using links from Vyasa, links from my master. My yoga teacher would talk to me now and again, and listening to the master, connected continuously. I de-identified myself from my breathing, de-identified myself from my body, and tuned myself to my divine Lord, and from the divinity, I was drawing the energy, keeping my mind totally free from any fear, and that's how I recovered, she says. So that is the journey towards healthier and happier life by using many of these yogic techniques to help people. So these are the links that we had prepared for people with COVID problem. We carried out some research also, and we found that in 25,000 people who answered this questionnaire, we found that the coping strategy in yoga practitioners was much better in the yoga group and working on that. I would also like to share that we had a synchronized global prayer which was used. I don't know whether many of you are familiar. In India, before they announced the first curfew, the first lockdown, our Prime Minister addressed the whole nation on the television, radio, television, and all media, and requested them, all my dear brothers and sisters of my country, 113 billion people, I request all of you to just spend 15 minutes this evening to clap it. You can use any drums, you can use any jate, etc. And we will clap. Clap for what? Clap for thanking healthcare workers, thanking people who are cleaning workers, who are working intensively for COVID. And this we did on 22nd March. And so the entire country responded at the same time. And this global consciousness, global prayer, global consciousness is being recorded around the country, around the world by computer recorded random event generator machine. It's a REG, random event generator. It's a small chip which gets attached to the computer, and it is kept around the globe in different parts of the world, and it is going on generating random numbers 24/7, and this is designed by Princeton University, and it has goes on with a line like this. If there is any change that happens in the consciousness field of the atmosphere, it can influence this computer, and this line goes beyond this parabola. So this was one of the sessions where there was a large number of meditators, and we had kept this chip reg machine in that area, and we could see this change happening. So on this clapping day, when the entire country cooperated to the call by our Prime Minister, we can see that this global consciousness field had shown changes where it went beyond the parabola. So that means if you and I together as a global mind, all of us together pray at the same time for the health of the society, positiveness of the people around, we can influence the people, is what is the understanding that some of these researchers are showing us. Let me stop here and take some questions from all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Nagarathna, for your wonderful presentation and experience you share with us. Now I will see with all participants whether they have some question for you. Ako hoćete možete postaviti pitanje dakle, na srpskom, pa ću opet da prevedem. I just want to tell them they can ask the question in Serbian and I will translate.
Yeah. Or they can type in the chat box also. You can.
Yes. Yeah. Good.
Tell me the question.
Ako imate pitanje. Nemate? Dobro. Pitat ću ja. I have one question for you, Doctor. You mentioned in one slide of your presentation that we are acting against the cosmic law. Is it related with this, the way we experience the fear of death and the fear of disease and so on? Is it against the cosmic law we are facing it?
Please repeat that. What did I understand your question right? Is it
yes,
the fear of the disease?
Yes. Is it our fear of death, our way we are looking on the way we are maybe to have some disease or experience that? Is it against the cosmic law itself?
Yes, we have totally gone against the nature. We have destroyed nature. We have changed our lifestyle. We have become so much against the nature. That is the big challenge that the cosmic law is giving us as a big challenge for humanity at large. So the most important thing that we all should encourage people is to change their lifestyle. Very simple, timely meal, healthy meal, homemade meal, as much organic as possible, as much vegetarian as possible, and regular exercise and freedom from bad habits. Who does not know this? Alcohol, wrong sleeping timings, wrong eating timings, junk food. We have understood all these, but we have not been able to change our lifestyle, and we are denuding the nature, we are cutting out trees. All these are the inside lifestyle and the environmental destruction, pollution. All these are making the virus enter into our body and destroy the whole system. Definitely what you said is at a very big level, at the cosmic level, what we have created and allowed humanity to become a prey to this minute dead organism, which I allow to enter my body and I make that live organism. All our children know about nature, all our children know about environmental protection, all our children are being taught. But what is happening? We cannot implement it, although we have the knowledge. This is where you all as yoga professionals, yoga teachers have a very important role to play to change that mind, which is, although I know I am not able to follow, is because of this violence. So if they can do yoga, keep their mind under mastery, then all this knowledge that I have through my education can be followed. It's as simple as that. This is the reason why on the International Day of Yoga, we all call upon all of you to have this vow that we take, that I shall spread this knowledge to a large number of people, not only on 21st June, the International Day of Yoga, but throughout the year, I am going to be promoting this yoga-based lifestyle change to the community around me. First myself, then my family and people around me, and to large number of my city and my country.
Yes, we will do our best to keep that way.
We have had good number of friends from Serbia who had attended our yoga instructors course. So I don't know when any of them are attending this program. And
yes,
our Indian government promotes people who are interested in learning yoga. They fund them and they bring them to our country, and our institution trains them in a 1 month yoga instructors course. You can contact our Indian embassy in your country, apply for this program. Of course, COVID has stopped everything, and before COVID started, They had conducted every month one program from different parts of the world, and almost 200 countries.
Now I can listen.
Sorry.
Any more questions?
Yes, I truly hope that this COVID situation will end soon, and we will have the opportunity to visit India next year, if it will.
Yeah, let us pray that
Let us pray for that.
will
Yes.
make us. Let us pray that COVID becomes a friend and not an enemy, so that we can be like before. Yeah, you're all welcome to India.
Thank you very much. Yes, I've been there. I was a participant at a yoga instructor course there in Prashanti Kutiram, so I was blessed to be there with you.
Oh, you were here, yes.
Yes, by
I'm
the
sure
end
you
of
can share to all your friends in your country.
yeah.
And how many people you think will be participating in this International Day of Yoga?
Well, I believe we will have about at the event itself, which will be at 20th of June. The central event. I hope it will be visited by 200 people or something like that.
Very good, very good. I'm sure
Yeah.
you have an active role to play in that.
Yes, we will enjoy it for sure.
Mm.
Last year we didn't have an opportunity to gather, in a huge number because of the COVID precautions, but now there's a possibility to be
This
together.
year we have announced it as online. Our Prime Minister announced it as online celebration.
Oh, great.
People do it in their homes. We hope to touch 300 million people.
Oh, that's great. We have the possibility to be alive, all together.
Yeah.
The COVID situation is here under control in Serbia. So
In Serbia, you can gather offline also.
yes.
Wow. Good. Send us some photographs. Right?
Yes, of course, we will. If there is no any question for you, thank you very much for your time and effort. And
it was nice getting together with that part of the world for the last 1 hour. Thank you. Let us end with one long Om, all of us together. Take a deep breath. Om. Thank you.
Thank you very much.